glitch the guarantee. E&E. Put your boy shit. Glitch, nigga. Shit, I'm about to flood the streets like when the levees break. Criminal minds, my Garcia can navigate. Flowing while I'm blowing this gas. Nigga, no brakes. Niggas not seeing me ever. I mean, no dates. Fuck around and end up gone. You get in this place. E&E, the shit that I claim. You dealing with grace. Took over the game by storm like Rain's mixtape. Thankfully, I've been up in smoke like my mixtape. Counting cheddar shit, I'm about to make a grilled cheese. Niggas be faker than bad bitches with good weeds. On my John Wick shit like Keanu Reeves. Replacements won't be enough, you need the whole team. I've been a G since I could finish my ABCs. Kept it a buck so real niggas look up to me. This butcher boy shit get crazy. When it's sick of me, I'm coughing out these dope bars till they sick of me.
Can't get rid of me, still can't find a remedy. Still blowing palmers, if it comes to Hennessy. E&E, we own our shit independently. When I go out on a limb, I take extremities. I can see right through transparency. Hurting self-esteem, low insecurities. Now or never, like glitch the guarantee. What's the recipe? King L's Reflection 3. All these chapters in my life, you can turn a page. Books can't tell you my story, gotta live and dance. Glitch got my back, yeah, you can copy that. Man, we control the scene, you can copy that. Leave your whole state red like Republicans. Put fire on a track, now it's bubbling. Put your boys E&E, you in trouble, kid. At first 100 mil, you can double.
Let's go. All the hustlers getting money, let it show. Automatic nigga, how we get the dough. If it ain't paper, then we probably gotta go. Put your boy shit, nigga, let's go. All the hustlers getting money, let it show. It's automatic nigga, how we get the dough. If it ain't paper, then we probably gotta go. Put your boy shit, nigga, let's go.
Blow sick, corona, jealous in the motherfucker. Can't even take a step, that's how far I trust you. This black boy turned to shine king under pressure. West side fat jacks, I took more than measure. Shade the extras, that's business starter feed. Street blues, what I talk, royal blood flowing free. Power on my mind, no the gang is kind. Read between the lines, it was in my eye. If they ain't got real lines, it ain't hard to spot a counterfeit. Undefeated, ultra real, Fern Gully Mountain shit. Couple hot shots, turn on the frozen margaritas. Even better when it's served with some flawless features. Next year they gotta pay for these flawless features. Flawless victories from the flaws that they teach us. Now my flow imitate how I board the plane non-stop. The little J gon' take over with my time side.
Yeah, I get right to it. My nigga, we begging pardon. We putting niggas back in boxes. Yeah, they be harder. My flow be retarded. Sick, I need hella help. My groove came back. This must be how Stella felt. We just started kicking it like a yellow belt. We all made it to the pros. This is how LaMelo felt. You better yell out help. Here comes the double team. You catch me in the spot, then you know that the bull is clean. The Louis V look mean with the magazine. So if you try it, you get shot. No vaccine. If you was asleep before I came, then I'm the caffeine. I pull the jokers out the deck. There ain't no laughing. In CEO fashion, we sticking to the business. Wouldn't even let a vegan knock me off my chicken. Something about the BBS when the sun is hitting. Should be flashing like the lights when you getting
Let's go. All the hustlers getting money, let it show. It's automatic, nigga, how we get the dough. If it ain't paper, then we probably gotta go. Put your boy shit, nigga, let's go. All the hustlers getting money, let it show. It's automatic, nigga, how we get the dough. If it ain't paper, then we probably gotta go. Put your boy shit, nigga, let's go.
Yeah. What up? Y'all already know it's the man about town, Virgil, aka Stats with the Facts. And y'all know y'all tuned in to another episode of Spiritual Roots Sundays over here at A Real Talk Podcast. What's up with everybody? I apologize for the tardiness. I actually was watching the Jeffrey Dahmer series that we're going in on this Friday, and I apologize because I passed out watching it, and I fell asleep a little bit. So, you know what I'm saying? Y'all apologize. I apologize for that. But we here right now, you know what I'm saying, in the building, ready to go. Everybody hit that like button, subscribe to the page, click on the bell and all of that, sharing your social media and all of that. And we about to get straight to it. How everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody's doing good tonight, man. We in the building. Once again, Spiritual Roots Sunday. You already know what it is. Y'all see the title. Like I said, once again, I apologize for the tardiness. You know, I really do. I apologize about that. But we here right now, and we're about to get to it. What's going on with everybody, man? How y'all doing today? How y'all doing this beautiful Sunday evening, man? I hope y'all had a good day today. Got everything taken care of, you know what I'm saying? Last night, I want to tell y'all something about last night. Now, I don't know, because I haven't checked since I just woke up, but I got a notification, or if I'm not mistaken, I was looking, I got a notification or something earlier, and it was saying that last night's listening session was blocked or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I don't see it in my video list. You know what I'm saying? So I think, it's still there. It's still there. Yeah, I got a message saying that it was blocked due to some stuff with Disney or something like that, but I guess they removed it because it's there. It's up there right now. So y'all can always go watch that playback from last night. We did the listening party for my brother King Els. You know what I'm saying? And we went in on that album, The Summer Is Mine. And we played them classic E&D tunes for y'all. You know what I'm saying, man? So we appreciate everybody who came out last night and tapped in and supported from our brother King Els. You know what I'm saying? It was a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all go download that album, The Summer Is Mine. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can go watch that replay from last night. We went in on a Saturday evening, banging that classic E&E banger. So, you know, we appreciate everybody for coming out. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate y'all for coming out tonight. And, you know, tonight we getting straight to it. You know what I'm saying? Tonight, as y'all can see, tonight shows the spiritual roots of the war between men and women, featuring my pops. You know what I'm saying? We got pops. About to hit him up, call him up here in a second. We're going to bring him right in. You know what I mean? Appreciate everybody coming out, like we said, man. How y'all doing today, man? Meet and greet each other as y'all come in. What's going on with everybody? How everybody doing today? Or should I say this evening? Yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing, man. If I do say so myself, I appreciate everybody that's out tonight, that's in the building tonight. You know what I'm saying? We going in. Everybody hit that like button. Everybody tap in and walk with us. You know what I'm saying? Spiritual roots of the war between men and women. I know, you know what I'm saying, this is something that my dad had brought to my attention and said it's something that we want to focus on, because a lot of the things that's going on right now is based in this whole situation right here. And as y'all see, especially on YouTube, the war between men and women is being flamed and flared up every single day in some shape, form, or fashion. And it makes sense to get to the roots of it, especially specifically the spiritual roots of it, because this whole situation going on between us men and women nowadays is all based at its base from the spiritual roots. We have to be able to get to this part and aspect of the situation, and over and out of extra stand, how we could come to come to a conclusion and come to some solutions on now that the war is over, because this so-called gender war is being over, you know what I'm saying? And I guess you could say at some point I could be guilty of this too. I'm not afraid to admit that at some point or to some extent, you know what I'm saying? But all of us at one point in time have played a part in, how could I say, I don't want to say exacerbating, but participating in some of this stuff going on between us men and women. You know what I'm saying? It's good to some extent. In some extent, you know, it could be considered a negative thing. But at the same time, it all boils down to what your intentions are. And anything I've ever said concerning this situation, I just want anybody and everybody to know that anything I ever say considering this situation is never done with ill intentions. It's never done out of spite, and it's never done out of anger or jealousy, but it's always done out of pure love, because I hold our brethren accountable just as much as I hold our sister accountable. You know, anybody who's going to be honest and really, really knows me or anything about the content I do knows that. So, you know, I don't want nobody to take things out of context, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, me knowing that people will take things out of context, I'm okay with that. But that's why we have our voices, so we can bring clarity to the things we say, just in case they do get taken out of context. So that's one of the reasons why we had a show too. You know what I'm saying? So we can explain things and break things down to those who may have or get right a misinterpretation of what it is we actually are trying to say, or actually saying over here at Able Talk Podcast, especially when it comes to Spiritual Roots Sundays. So, you know what I'm saying? Everybody tap in and walk with us. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I apologize for the tardiness, man. You know, I was watching the Jeffrey Dahmer series, and I fell asleep. Not to say that the Jeffrey Dahmer series wasn't boring, but, you know, I just, you know, smoking a little bit and sipping a little bit as I was watching it. And, you know, I just, you know, y'all know how it is on a Sunday. Y'all just pass out, and I didn't mean to do that. Like I said, I apologize about that, but we here right now, and we're going to get into it. We're going to get straight to it. Everybody hit that like button, smash that like button, tap in and walk with us, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we ain't going to waste no time either. You know, we're going to get straight into it. You know what I mean? I want to give a chance for some people to fall up in here. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get Pops on the phone, and we're going to get to the topic of the night's discussion. How's everybody doing tonight, man? I hope everybody's having a beautiful evening. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hope y'all ready to go into this, take this walk with us. You know what I'm saying? We about to definitely go in. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button and get the notifications out, man, so people can tap in and walk with us as we break this thing down, man. I got a feeling it's going to be a beautiful situation tonight. A lot of jewels is going to be dropped. A lot of gems is going to be dropped. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, hopefully we'll be able to answer some questions and bring some clarity to some things for some people who may have some questions considering this situation right here. Because, you know, like I say, this like I said, you really see it on YouTube. And it's not just black men and women, it's all men and women. So we're not going to exclude this to any particular race of people, because this war between men and women has something. Excuse me, this war between men and women is something that's going on between all men and women, not just any specific group of men and women. So we know we're going to get into it, and we're going to address all sides of the situation, and we're going to break down the spiritual roots. You know what I'm saying? So I'm about to bring Pops up on the phone. Y'all just give me a couple seconds. All right, we got Pops on the phone right now, y'all. So y'all can just go ahead and get that. I'm going to go ahead and run upstairs and use the restroom real quick. You go ahead and talk to him, and I'll be right back.
All right. Everybody, me out there.
Now go ahead and say something so they can make sure we can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and say something.
All right. Hello. How's everybody out there in YouTube land?
All right, they can hear you. I'm about to run to the bathroom, Pops, and I'll be right back.
All right. Hello once again, everyone. Sorry for the delay and sorry for the phone situation, but we're going to get it all right together. Don't stop nothing. Don't stop no monkey. I give my love to you all out there today. Hope y'all had a blessed weekend and a blessed week with many more to come. My topic tonight is going to be about the spiritual roots of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And my subject is the fall of Adam and Eve. This is something me and my son been waiting to get into, because we know that it's going to open up a whole lot of eyes. It's a very touchy subject. It's going to step on a lot of toes, men and women. But that's what this is all about. It's about man and woman. And I just wanted to share with you all that, you know, hopefully sending this message out, that it'll open up the spiritual eyes of a lot of people, the hearts. You know, my main purpose is to try to reunite and to restore and to regenerate the relationship between man and woman. What has happened since the fall in the garden, and hopefully that it can shed some light and some revelation on what is going on with men and women today. You know, that we can reunite and get back to where it was in the beginning before all this stuff happened. So I'm going to start off with saying that, like I said, the subject is the fall of Adam and Eve. And a great change came between the two of them when the fall happened and against each other. You know, they both lost their place and position in each other and in their own themselves. And the roles had changed between the two. That the greatest effect that it had on Adam and Eve when the fall took place. I don't think they really knew what the repercussions was going to be once they, got into it and didn't realize that it was going to be the way that it was supposed to be. So you all just bear with me. I will give you some insight, some revelation to what is going on, and hopefully that it can actually restore and rebuild back up the relationship between man and woman. Okay? Like I said, the subject is the fall of Adam and Eve and the tremendous change and effect that it had on them both, and they didn't know what would be the outcome of it. I think if they knew, they wouldn't have done what they had did, What I would like to share with you is that the fall, when it all happened, that's why the serpent used Eve, because he knew she was the weaker vessel. And he couldn't get to Adam because he knew that Adam knew already what was going on. But it shows you the chemistry and the significance of what was going on in the garden and Satan's plot to bring a division and a separation between Adam and Eve. He knew the damage that it would cause between the two. Their lives would never be the same after the fall. Now, Adam being the man, he was made in the likeness and the image of God. And it was in change in the garden and of the earth that affected everything about him when the fall came about, because Adam was in charge of everything and everyone above, on, and below the earth. This is when the division began between Adam and Eve after the fall. All right, everyone follow me?
Yeah, we follow him.
Eve told Adam, God told Adam, because you listened to your woman and you gave in to her, you are now responsible, and your responsibility is to her. Adam didn't know all this was going to come upon him when the fall took place, but he realized afterwards everything that what was going on, okay? It changed the whole chemistry, the whole atmosphere, the whole concept of him and his woman, which it was his rib, it was bone of his bones, flesh of his flesh. It was the weaker vessel of him, the strongest of the vessel, because he is a vessel. So by her coming from out of him, that made her a part of his vessel. So she was also a vessel, but he was the weaker part of her, being a vessel. That's why they was considered being as one. Do you follow me what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he didn't realize the damage, oh Lord, that was being done, that was going on between the two. They didn't know the serious repercussions and the division and the separation of them, that what it was going to happen and flow before them. So him being responsible for the woman and everything that was on him, he brought on him. That was a part of his punishment. Now let me give you a footnote, people. Adam and Eve were not cursed when the fall took place and after the fall. The only ones that was cursed was the serpent. The devil wasn't even cursed. But the the serpent was cursed because he allowed for the devil to use his body to do what he wanted to do to get to Adam and Eve. And that's why God went to him first and said what he said to him. Then he went to Adam. Well, he went to the serpent and told Satan what his punishment was. Okay? He told him that I will put a seed between thy seed and thy woman's seed. And it would be a separation. Okay? And the serpent, he would crawl on his belly for all the rest of the days of his life, and he would be Lord than any other of the creation or creatures that God created at that time. Okay? Then he went to the man, and that's what he told Adam, that you're going to have to be responsible for your life because you gave in to her. You listened to her. You already knew you had dominion over everything and everybody and everyone. And you partook of that with her, so therefore that's a part of your punishment. Not only that, but you also would have to work by the sweat of your brow, that everything that in this earth that was given to you and coming forth up to you without you have to do anything about it no longer will be. You have to work and make this earth give you what it needs out of it in order for you to survive and continue to live. That's the second part of your punishment. Okay? And that everything would be hard for you. You would have to work at everything. You still have dominion. Everything else that was a part of you, but that part, and then the separation from me and you, spiritually. Plus, you also open up the door for death. So therefore, you will not live forever in this flesh that you're in now, but it shall die.
Right.
Because it would go back to where that it came from. From thus you came from, and from thus you shall return.
Right.
Then he went to the woman and told her, because of this, what you have done, okay, because you listened to the serpent and everybody passing the buck. See, when I went to Adam, he going to tell me the woman that you bought and gave to me. Instead of him standing up and being responsible and admitting he was wrong in what he did, he going to pass it on to his woman. That pissed God off with him. So he's okay because of that, you allow for that to happen. She said, you know what you was doing when you turned to your man. You weren't supposed to even have a conversation with the serpent, but you did.
Right.
You're not to touch the fruit of that tree. So you listen to him. So because of that, when you give birth and then conception, because you are supposed to multiply and refill the earth, that was going to happen anyway. And you was going to feel some pain and discomfort, but not much. But because of your hard-headedness, I'm going to double your pain when you give conception, okay, and childbirth and childgiving. So that was her punishment. But also what was going on at the same time was that their physical eyes was being opened. They didn't see themselves no more as they did in the first, which was their spiritual eyes. See? They didn't even know that they was naked. They saw their bodies and they was aware of their bodies, but not in the way that they were after her eyes was open.
Right.
Then she began to start seeing the physical, the natural. And not only that, but let me throw this in. That's when she was able to see because of the fruit that she partook of. This is a revelation that I got today, YouTube people, that I'm going to share with everybody. I hope your spiritual eyes and your spiritual ears are open to receive this, because that's what it's going to take. Okay? But everyone always was talking about what was the fruit that they partake of.
Right.
The Holy Ghost gave me revelation of what the fruit was.
It wasn't no apple, y'all, that's for sure.
It was no apple. That's right.
Talk to him, Pops.
Yeah, I have to tell you what the fruit was. The fruit itself was the knowledge of good and evil. That was the fruit. Okay? Now, in order for them to partake of it and consume of it, it had to be natural, it had to be physical, it had to be tangible. It had to be a substance of some food to go and be ingested into the body. What kind of fruit that it was, I don't know, but I know that it had substance. It was eatable. It was in the form of some type of fruit for them to ingest, and that's what they partook of. Now, the seed, here we go, that is actually what the multiplying of, you know what I'm saying, of evil and good. That's what the seed was. That was the seed. The seed was of good and evil. That was the fruit that they partake of. Okay, in knowing and having the knowledge of knowing good and evil. So good and evil, which actually is what the seed is, because the seed is whatever it is of itself in its own body. Everybody get what I'm saying? Right. Remember everything that God said is in a seed. Right. It's a seed. So that's what that was. That was the fruit. The fruit was something where God would have a way they would be able to ingest it. But the seed of what was in the fruit was the seed of knowledge of knowing good and evil. Right. Okay? Not having good and evil in them, don't misunderstand me, but having and knowing the knowledge of it.
Talk to him, man.
That was the substance that was within the seed. That's what the seed itself was, of knowledge of good and evil, and knowing how to use it. And once it got inside of them, then it began to start germinating, taking root. Right. That's what seeds do. That's exactly, am I right?
Right. That's exactly what they do.
Okay, everybody with me so far?
You know, well, no, hold on real quick. Hold on. Now listen, y'all. The knowledge of good and evil, not a seed of evil or good itself.
Right.
Right, but the seed of the knowledge of good and evil. I want y'all to over and out understand the difference between knowing good and evil and knowing the knowledge of good and evil. You hear me? Big difference. Talk to him, Pops.
Okay, like I said, let me put more emphasis on it. And the purpose of that seed was to do with it what it was supposed to do because of what was contained within itself to do. And within itself contained what was it to do is to give you the understanding of having and knowing the knowledge of good and evil. That's what the seed was. The fruit, because like I said, because they had to ingest it and get it into them, that's why God said and went to the serpent and spoke to Satan and said that I will put an entity between thy seed and thy woman's seed. There would be a separation and a distinction. See? Because you know that seed would take root and would start to germinate and to manifest itself. And Adam and Eve, they would begin to know what it was to know evil. They already knew good. See? That's where the terminology and the manifestation of where twins come from. Two instead of one. Do you hear me?
Talk to him.
See? Now, what was the two seeds that he was talking about? He said, my seed, but being a separation and incident, a different nature of your seed. Your seed, where his head would be crushed. But my seed, his heels would just be bruised. That's all you would do to my seed, is bruise the heel of it. But my seed is going to crush your head. Now, what is he talking about? He's talking about things that have not yet come to pass. Talking about Christ coming here in earth in flesh. You follow me?
Talk to him.
This is some good stuff here.
Walk with us.
Spoons and your knives and your fork, because if you let it go where it's supposed to go, it'll set you free and it'll open up your eyes to things that you never thought that would even exist.
Right.
You know?
Well, hey, Pops, whatever you got going on in the background, could you like mute that or turn it down or something?
Yeah, yes, sir. All right. So this is some good stuff right here. So this is what happened. See, that's why I said that Eve and Adam didn't even really know the consequences and the repercussions that they would really suffer behind this. You know, it totally separate them. That was the beginning of the separation and the division of them. That they did not see themselves in the light that they did before. You know, it started the war between man and woman. You know, God said, Adam, because of that, what you allow for her to let you do, or cause you to be a part of, you're responsible for her. You got to take care of her. Everything that she do and however it come about, that's your headache. And basically what he was telling Adam. Because of your hard-headedness, because you didn't step up to the plate like you were supposed to. So this is a part of your punishment. You're going to have to deal with her. Now notice, her eyes was open first physically to see the natural and the tangible and just the way the world really was as it was seen through the eyes of evil. Okay? The way the devil was seeing it. She then saw it. Then when she saw her body didn't even look the same to her. She didn't even see it in the same light that she did before, you know. She saw it in the three things that what evil is a part of, and having the knowledge and knowing of good and bad, was that the lust of the flesh, her body, she saw the different change and transformation of her body. She saw it in the natural physical vision, not just the spiritual anymore. Okay. Then she saw the lust of her flesh. She began to start feeling desires, feelings, emotions that woke up the natural senses. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, now let me just say this real quick, Pop. Now notice y'all, right? If y'all hear what my pops just said, right? And I always say to y'all that God didn't design us to have emotions or to be emotional. You know what I'm saying? The emotions are not an expression of God's original design. They are the expression of what my dad refers to as the fall, or what I call the hack. You hear me? And we weren't originally designed to have emotions or to become emotional. And this is what my dad is getting to now. That's I wanted to touch on that, because I know if y'all pay attention, y'all hear me say a lot of times that emotions aren't a part of who we are. They're a part of what we are. Big difference. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to touch on that. Go ahead, Pops. Pretty sure that y'all come up in, man. We apologize for the tardiness, man. I know the notification's probably getting out a little late because of that, but y'all see y'all starting to fall up in here. So y'all know, hit that like button and get the notifications out. And we gonna get back to it. Dad, let's go.
Okay. So when her eyes was open first, that's why Satan dealt with her first. Okay. And when she saw her body, like I said, in a whole different transformation, then that's when the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. Now, the pride of life at this time manifested itself in her when she noticed how beautiful she was, her appearance, her looks. She saw how beautiful that she was physically. The same way that we are attracted to women today physically. You know what I'm saying? There's some beautiful women out there in the world today.
We got Uncle Diggity in the building. Uncle Diggity, what's good with you, brother? Peace to you too, brother, man.
So that was the same thing that what she saw with her natural physical vision about herself. She noticed more how her breast was, everything about her, all parts of her body. Okay. Then it became, that's what vanity is. Okay. She got stuck up on how she looked physically. And Satan knew that would be an effect on her, okay? Even when she looked at Adam, even before she gave Adam that to partake and be a part of it, he also didn't know and seen yet what she was seeing through her natural eyes. Because see, his natural eyes and visions wasn't open yet, because he had not partake of that yet. So he was still in the spirit realm where him and God was.
No, hold on. Real quick, now pay attention. Now, what my pops are telling y'all now, this is we laying foundation right now. Y'all gotta pay attention. Eve, her eyes was open first before Adam, right? Pay attention. Keep going, Bob.
So therefore, when he was looking at her, he was still seeing her in the light that he saw in before he partook of that. But she already been that quick, that seed of good and evil start budding in her and germinating in her. She began automatically was aware of it, the knowledge, the knowing of it, and the understanding of it. Okay, and she began to start knowing what evil was about because she started noticing her body and everything, how it was different. She automatically began, she started, so that's the first seduction of a woman with a man that he did with Adam, her husband. She was using seducing him. That's why he gave in to her and partook of that. She seduced him. Hello, people. That's how fast that knowledge and knowing of evil had worked in her. And it started working in her and manifesting in her just that quick. That's why he became a part of that. Then his eyes was open. Okay? So he saw her body in a whole different way as well. You know, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life was also manifesting in him because he then now had that part of that nature of that seed in him. Because like I said, that's what the seed was, of knowing and having the knowledge of good and evil. So they saw each other in a whole different way, in a whole different light. That's when everything began to start changing between the both of them. Physically, how they saw each other. Emotionally, how they saw each other. You know, they had their own perspective and perception of how each other was within. She began to immediately start using the things that was in her. Then when that seed started manifesting in her, of knowing and having the knowledge of good and evil, she immediately knowing how to use it and make it work for her. That's the way women are today. That's why they are the way they are today. I'm not lashing and bashing no women, but I'm giving you scriptures and I'm giving you biblical proof that what I'm saying is true. So don't be mad at Virgil Berry Sr. If you got an altar pick against it, then you go with God because he says this.
Talk to him.
And then he says that because Adam, you allowed her to do this and you was caught up into it too, then you're going to have to be responsible for her. Then and have the rule, R-U-L-E, the rule. Over her. Then he went to her and told her, you are to be subjective and submissive, and your desires, all your desires, anything about you that got to do with you, is surrendered and given to Adam, your husband. That's your job. That's all you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. Nothing else. No more, no less. You don't have no say-so when it comes to him being the rule over you. But what happened? What happened? This is where the division, the separation, the animosity, the hate, change of thoughts and feelings, you know, the perception of each other. They both end up losing their state they was in at first with each other, and they both lost their grounds and position of who they was from the beginning. Wow. The roles changed and switched. Okay. It wasn't the same no more between Adam and Eve, man and woman, like it started out. These are the repercussions and the consequences of the fall when it happened to them.
Right. Now, let me just say this real quick, pause. Now, I know what we getting into tonight is a very sensitive subject, right? I know it is, y'all. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page and all of that, sharing your social engineering and all of that. I know this is a sensitive subject, but I think it's very important that we have these discussions and get, like I said, we get to the spiritual roots of it, because this war that's been going on between men and women for time immemorial, it has its spiritual roots. And I think in order for us to get to any type of solutions now is to get to the basis of the spiritual roots, because one thing about our reality, or the major aspect of our reality, is it's spiritually based. We're being tricked into thinking that it's not. And I think that's a big contribution to why things are the way they are today. And I think once we get to reading the scriptures and all that, and seeing how they apply to what's going on now, we can get back to what our proper roles are, Pops. You know what I'm saying? And so I think this is very important to have this discussion. As I said, we're not bashing nobody. We're not pointing a finger at anybody. You know what I'm saying? If anything, especially as far as me and my pops go, we're pointing the finger at ourselves because, like I said, or like my pops say, and as far as even over that, what God says is that he gave man the dominion over the earth, which means everything in it, including the woman that he gave him to be his helpmate. But you know what I'm saying? I don't want people to think that we're using scripture to validate or justify any type of perceived dominance that men have over women, because it's like I said, it's not us that's saying this. God says this. God gave man dominion over women, which means God made him the superior being, which means God made him first, which means that's the order and structure in which the Most High wanted it. So, you know, a lot of people out there call themselves Christians or followers of Christ or believers in God, but, you know, don't want to acknowledge, you know what I'm saying, Pops, or like I say, acknowledge that the actual facts, if you're going to go according to the scriptures, this is the order in which the Most High designed it. So I think that it's important for us to get to that and have this discussion because, like I said, my pop said, this is not about us bashing females. This is not about us, like I said, using scripture to justify any type of position or dominance that we have or want to have. But we're just basically shining light on the spiritual roots to the natural design, the way the Most High designed it. And like I said, this is a battle that has been going on since the fall, since the hack. And in order for us to get to the solutions, we have to get back to where it all started, which was in the garden, which is why we're having this discussion. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick, Pops. You go ahead and finish up.
All right. And also, too, what he was letting Adam know is what has really happened and taken place between you and woman. You know, now Adam, he is the man. He told Eve, you are bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Your rib. Didn't even change the name, just added on W-O to show you how much connected that she was with him, that it was actually physically, literally, and in any other way you can imagine or think of, was a part of him and from him and of him in every way.
Right.
Put him in a deep sleep, opened up his chest, and took out a rib, closed him up, and made woman. See, woman wasn't created. Woman was Eve. Adam was created in the image and likeness of God.
And let me stop you right there, Pops.
From the dirt
Right.
of the earth. You got to understand the makeup of this now.
Right. Let me stop you real quick. And this is why I just was having a conversation with one of my sisters the other day, man. Shout out to Sharice, man. I was having this conversation with her, and I was explaining this to her. And I'm not going to say she didn't get it, but you know what I'm saying? And this is something that I think gets very much well misconstrued. You know what I'm saying, Pops? I want y'all to understand when we say that women are the weaker vessels, when we say that women are, with the lack of a better term, inferior. And I hate using that word, you know what I'm saying, because of what this connotations and that we know it to have. But I want y'all to understand the importance, the significance, the superiority of God creating Adam in his image, but he didn't create women or females in his image. And females weren't created in God's. And I know it's a confusion that people think, well, if God created man in his image, and then he reached into Adam and grabbed a rib out of him and made Eve, right? That's not the sentence that means that Eve was created in God's image as well. No, I want y'all to get this is why we have these Spiritual Roots Sundays, so we can break these things down to y'all, so y'all can over and understand the difference between something being created and something being made, something being created and something being formed. You know what I'm saying? It's a huge difference between creation, made, and forming. You hear me? Shout out to the homie Gold Professor in the building. You already know, man. You already know my big homie Gold Professor in the building. Make sure y'all go over there and subscribe to my brother Gold Professor, cooking up that early morning gang for y'all, man, on that West Coast, man. Shout out to Gold Professor in the building. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to emphasize that. So let me come up real quick. I want to emphasize that. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of people get that confused and they get that misconstrued when we say these things right here, man. The difference between, like I said, God created man, Adam, in his image. He did not create woman in his image. He created woman in Adam's image. And I want y'all to over and understand the difference between man being created in God's image and woman being created in Adam's image, but not created in God's image. You hear me? Now go ahead and talk to him, Pops.
Okay. Yeah, and also let me give you a more deeper understanding of the word vessel.
Right.
Vessel is a dwelling place, something that something else dwells in or is kept in, all right? Like a glass and water, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like dirt and a flower pot, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like air in a balloon, okay? Same thing, same analogy, okay?
Right.
Now, there's only one vessel. That's why God called Adam the strongest vessel, because he is the first vessel of the vessel. And because the woman comes from him, she is still a part of him as being even a vessel, because she came from him. He was still made from the same substance that he was made from the dirt and from the earth, because she came out of him.
Right.
So everything about her is a part of him in every aspect, in every way.
Right.
But she's the weaker part, okay? And I'm going to give you some more deep revelation on some things, people out there. As far as woman is concerned, and the female, that's the most sensitive part of Adam that is in him, as far as his makeup and his character as being a man, okay? That's the only way he will be able to give the love and nourishment to Eve, is because he knew that it was a part of him.
Right.
That's why he said, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. You know, and he would love it and cherish it and nurture it, you know, because he knew it was a part of him. And she was the weaker part of him. So whenever, and I'm going to tell you something else, might bust your bubble too, whenever a man is really loving a woman and giving love to a woman, people, he's really giving it back to himself.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
He's giving it back to himself because it's a part of him. It's from him. He didn't say just the bone. He said the flesh also. Every aspect of him. She was. He named her Eve. God didn't call her Eve. God didn't even call her a woman. He called her a helpmate. It ain't good for him to be alone. I would give him a helpmate. And when God brought Eve to Adam, from there on out, everything that was said about Eve, it was from Adam. This is woman. What he said.
He named everything on.
This is bone of my bone. He knew she came up out of him. You hear me? He knew he had that rib missing out of him. She is the mother of all life and all living. Now that's speaking of far as mankind now. I ain't talking about nobody else,
Right.
but just mankind.
Notice my pop said mankind, man.
See? K-I-N-D, not K-I-N-E.
Yes, big difference, y'all. Big difference. Please understand. Hold on real quick. Understand the difference between mankind, K-I-N-E, and mankind, K-I-N-D. Because Adam was the first of his kind, but he wasn't the first of his kind. I hope. Can you keep up? My man Court, shout out to my man Court. Can y'all keeping up? You hear me? Adam wasn't the first Adam. You feel me?
Right.
He was the first of his kind. He was the first man. He wasn't the first. Y'all, yeah, man. Tap in and walk with. Let's go, Pops.
This is good, people.
Yeah, man.
You ready for some more?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Now, like I said, this ain't bashing nobody. This is trying to reunite. This is restoration. Restoration.
Right.
And reconciliation
Right.
with man and woman, with each other. What the devil tore and took apart when the fall came about, okay? That's why we have so much division against man and woman now. That's why it's a war between man and woman. And the devil knew this, okay? That's why women, you have to go back to the mother of all women. That's Eve. Like Adam is the father and the man of all men.
Right.
So each one of their natures and characteristics and everything about them of each other individually, it affects the man like it's supposed to and the woman like it's supposed to. Okay? But the devil's main object was, and objective was to cause the separation and division between them two. Because then they will want to bring on families and multiplying and fulfilling the earth with them of their own kind. Be fruitful and multiply. That's what God told them. And Satan knew that. So to destroy the family unity, he's still latching at God and getting back at God, whatever he do. He don't care who it is that he messes with, as long as he accomplishes his goal. So now he got this going on with Adam and Eve, you know. Even up until the day where we at right now. That's why man and woman is at each other like it is, okay? We both have lost our first state where we was at with each other from the beginning. And after the fall, everything changed, okay? Our perception of each other, our attitudes with each other, and everything just totally changed. That's why we had this war against each other, you know. And the devil knew it, you know. The woman, she lost her place, and man didn't stand in his place, okay? That's why God wasn't so hard on Adam as he was on Eve. That's why when you go into the Proverbs and you hear about the book of Proverbs and how now Proverbs, it bashes women. And that's through the voice of God. Because God didn't care too much for Eve, I don't think, afterwards because of what happened with her. That's why you don't hear too much emphasis really put on her. And that's why he was so hard on her. Even throughout the whole Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, it speaks about women in a very negative way. Okay? Now, there's some good points about it. He speaks about, you know, in the book of Solomon, you know, what is a virtuous woman, you know. And that's just to remind that women know how far down they failed from the garden and lost their position and their place in what they was as being a woman and being the helpmate of Adam. And the devil just ran to it and ran with it compared to where we at today with our women and men in the world today, you know. As long as he can keep that together, it affects everything about man and woman. It hinders and messes up the multiplying and refilling the earth and the family unity. You know what I'm saying? He destroyed the family unity. Look how much he done accomplished since the fall. The relationship between man and woman over the ages and the dispensation of times. Okay, and the times that we live in right now. Look at where we at with each other. Men don't know where to be at in their position with holding down who they are as being the dominion and having the power and authority over everything and everybody in earth, above it, in it, and below it. Woman done told you that the roles done changed.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The man now seems like to be the weaker vessel than a woman.
Right.
She the one stepped up to the plate and taking over and in charge and in control. Instead of man being where he's supposed to be and doing what he's supposed to do at. And this is the whole conflict. This is the only way that he can get back right is that you have to be back in Christ. You have to start back from the garden where you were at spiritually with man and woman. You know, everything has to come full circle. As long as it's like it is right now, it's going to continue to be like this. So we both have to work at it and healing each other. And the only answer is Christ Jesus. You have to be born again spiritually. That's the only thing that's going to set anything right in motion with you again. As long as you stay on the road you're on, it's going to continue to be like that, and it's going to get worse. That's why I told my son it's very important. It's time. It's time for a lot of things to be revealed in the earth. God is coming full circle with his plan about mankind and the earth and his creation, with man and with woman. You know, he said a lot of people don't know the signs of the times. If you don't recognize it, you won't know it. But those who do recognize it and know it, it's time for them to start getting busy and doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Because everybody plays an important part in this. And, you know, you ain't here by accident. You're here for a reason and a purpose.
Right.
So men and women, you want to say something?
Yeah. I just wanted to touch on what you're saying, just to bring this to another aspect of the whole demonstration. Shout out to my big homie, Go Professor. Go Professor say what's funny is there are males that want to be like Eve, hence the man broad on Fox Soul, lambasting Dr. Umar Johnson. That's right. Why would you want to be a broad? I think it's because it's not easy being a man. And I would agree with that. I would agree with that to a lot of extent on a lot of levels too. But I want to draw y'all's attention to this book right here. Now, some of y'all may be familiar with this book. This book is called The New World Order by an author by the name of A. Ralph Epperson. Right? This book came out in 1990, and it basically is an overview of what the plans of those who you hear me talking about, those Khazarian demons, those who claim to be Jews but are really of the synagogue of Satan. This is a good book. I strongly suggest you go get it. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because it talks about, has a chapter, it has an entire chapter in there talking about what we are discussing now, which is the war between men and women, which is a further extension of the attack on the family unit. You heard what my pops say, LSD, Lucifer, Satan, the devil, is attacking the family unit, the order and the structure of things, God, man, woman, child. You see how this being disrupted. You see how this is being usurped. You see how this is being manipulated. You see how this is being inverted out of its original design. And I just want to point this to y'all's attention real quick. This chapter in this book, this is a real good book. I strongly suggest y'all go get it. You know what I'm saying? You can go get it on Amazon or any reputable bookstore that's still open today. You know, y'all know how they're getting rid of the bookstores. So you know what I'm saying? You can go get this book right here. And I just want to read a little bit of this for you, which are right here. Chapter 29, The Attack on the Family. The family unit has been called the cornerstone of civilization. We're going to stop right there. And I want my dad to speak on this very briefly so I can get back to this. You hear me, Pops? All right. Now, the first sentence in the first paragraph of this chapter of this book, the family unit has been called the cornerstone of civilization. Now, as y'all heard my pops just say, the Most High designed this whole situation. It was a divine structure and order in which he designed it. Man, woman, child. This is the family unit. This is the structure. This is the holy, divine, balanced equilibrium structure of hierarchy, right? Not an inverted, manipulated version of it, which we have with Lucifer, Satan, the devil. And y'all remember earlier when my dad was talking about how he came to the serpent. See, this is why you hear me use terms like serpentine, right? So we're going to get right back to it. You know what I'm saying? The concept that the parents are responsible for the upbringing of the children produced during the marriage is the cornerstone of American life, or human life, we won't say. Yet there are efforts in America today to undermine, if not destroy, the family unit altogether. The desire to destroy the family unit is, as has been briefly alluded to in previous sections of this study, one of the goals of the New Age humanist communist movement. Marilyn Ferguson, the New Age writer, has written this about the family unit in her book entitled The Aquarian Conspiracy, which is another book that I've read. Many sociologists anticipate the evolution of monogamy. Marriage, they say, must be transformed as an institution if it is to survive at all. Right? If monogamy is tied inextricably with the restriction of all sexual expression to the spouse, they said it will ultimately be monogamy that suffers. The word monogamy has two meanings, both of which are applicable to this study. The word is defined as 1, the practice or state of being married to only one person at a time. 2, the practice of marrying only once during life. So, Dad, I want you to go ahead and speak on that real quick.
The whole intentions of when God created and brought all that about to being between man and woman. That's why God said that it ain't good for man to be alone. So I would give him a helpmate, okay? That's why he also said that whenever that a man would leave his mother and his father, okay? This is in marriage. This is holy matrimony. This is between man and woman. When they decide to hook up and get married, that when the two, and when the man decides to go and get him a wife and leave his parents, and them two would hook up, then them two would become one. See, this is a way of he was reuniting back Adam and Eve together from where Eve came up out of Adam. See, his rib. See, that's when they would become one again. Okay? That's why Adam said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. This is woman, you know, my helpmate, you know. She was supposed to not just physically, but spiritually replace and refill and fill up that void, the emptiness of that one rib that was taken out of him for him and God to be able to create her for him. Okay? That was them being reunited and rejoined again, back together as one. That's why he said that ye both shall become as one. Because they was being reconnected again from where when God took Eve up out of Adam, or the rib of him, and made him a woman. Then that's when he was rebuilding and reconnecting them back to one another again. So once holy matrimony became a part of their life, then that was the reconnection came in. That's why he said, and whatsoever God put together, let no man put asunder. That is the only scripture and verse that man used when he married a man and a woman together that is spiritually and biblical. Do you hear me?
Talk to him.
Everything else that is a part of that ceremony and that ritual is man-made. The only thing that's a part of God and what God said was that once they two become one, let no one separate them. No man pull them apart ever again.
Right. Now that brings...
Are y'all eating that? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get too deep, but deep enough to let you know, get your spiritual eyes and your spiritual ears open. Right.
Now now what my pop said goes back to this is to that second definition, the practice of marrying only once during life. Right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, see, this is where things get skewed at with this part of the definition. The practice or state of being married to only one person at a time. Now, I want y'all to understand being married to one person at a time. You know what I'm saying? Now, understand what time is, y'all. God didn't create time. You hear me? I think a lot of y'all are confused with that. That's the time is an aspect or a result of the fall or the hack. God didn't create time.
Right.
So when you think about being married to only one person at a time, you know, this time, that time, all time, the time before, what time exactly are you talking about? Now, thinking about being time not being real, right? Or time of not being create something of God's original design. This is how we are able to manipulate what originally was designed in this reality to this day. And this is where we get divorce and stuff from. Maybe one of these days, possibly we can get into the spiritual roots of marriage, divorce, and separation, all of that too. Yeah, now let me read this real quick. The dictionary added an appendix to the second definition. And it said that the definition was rare, and it indeed is. The tradition in America that the husband takes himself a wife and then remains faithful to that spouse for the remainder of their life together is a Judeo-Christian one. In other words, it comes from the beliefs and teachings of two religious faiths, or like my dad said, comes from man, right? Since this is not something that is written instinctively into the hearts of all men, and since man is given free choice, man is free to accept or reject the created institution of the family. The married man does not have to have but one wife and to remain faithful to her. It is only religion that has taught him that the monogamous marriage is the preferable lifestyle. Marilyn Ferguson, the New Age writer, writes further. See, these New Age writers, they trying to distort the original design with stuff like this, man. Traditional monogamy contravenes the growing sense that the greatest good of human existence is deep interpersonal relationships, as many of these as is compatible with death. Younger people are trying to devise and invent a form of marriage appropriate to a new era, right? As has been previously illustrated, the New Age movement and the communist movement want to destroy the family. Here, one of the major New Age writers says that it is the young people who are attempting to devise a new marriage institution, right? The children are being taught to change the marriage contract by those in the New Age movement who have written the textbooks or encouraged a dialogue with the intent of changing their attitudes. So I'm reading this, y'all, to show y'all how this war is being strategically plot out between men and women to get us to be separate from each other and not in our original design and structure. And this book, the New World Order by Ralph Epperson, which I suggest y'all go get, has an entire chapter solely focused and geared towards explaining the strategic plot of the so-called Illuminati, right? And how they want to break up the family unit. And I want you to go ahead, continue, Pops. And I'm gonna read some more when you get done.
Okay, and adding on to all that, what you just said, as far as about the monogamy and one being one and only one marriage, that was the concept that God had in mind when He instituted that. You feel what I'm saying? That particular law between man and woman. Now, Jesus came along and He said, I come not to change the law, but to fulfill it. Now, He always said from the Old Testament, because He knew about the Old Testament, He said, it has been said that a man, when he leave his parents and take on a wife, that they two shall become one. You know, He said, but because of the things that goes on now between a man and a woman, because of their hard-headedness, because of their sinful ways and their nature, okay, that if any reason why that a man and a woman should be divorced, see, He spoke about divorce. And the only grounds to get a divorce are that if a woman, and He didn't say nothing about the man, it could have been the man, but it was the emphasis on the woman, that if she would commit adultery, that's the only grounds that a man had to even divorce his wife back then, in that day, time, and dispensation of age, was that it's because of adultery. That was the only grounds that a man had to get rid of his wife for divorcement. But Jesus made the emphasis on this because of their hard-headedness and their stubbornness, you know, that if that's what it came down to, that God would accept you divorcing that woman. But at the same time, if that woman was divorced from that man, and if she go on and commit fornication, see, with another person, whether they married or not. See, whenever two people that are married to whoever they married to, it's adultery. No two ways about it. No ifs, ands, and but. I don't care. If you married the man and it's the woman that's married to whoever else that they sleep with and mess around with, to the both of them, they're committing adultery. But now if it's a single person that is not married and a married woman or a married man commit that sexual act with each other or one another, then it's fornication. Different word, different meaning, different action. Okay? Now the woman is doing two things, or the man. If they mess with a single person that's not married, they're not only committing fornication, but they're still committing adultery because they're married to their husbands. Now, the single person, they're just committing fornication. They're not married, so they're not locked into that adultery thing. You see what I'm saying? But if the man is married and the woman is married, then that's adultery. Whoever else they sleep with, whether it's a single person or a married person. If it's a married person that they sleep around with or another married person, then it's adultery. And that was the cause and the grounds of getting a divorce from one another. Other than that, there was no other reason to have to get a divorce. God allowed for that to be. He put that in universal law between man and woman because of that act. Okay, and that all comes back to the garden, which is about the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, the pride of life. You know, and it's a sexual act. It's a sexual sin act. Man against woman or woman against man. So that's why he said that in order for that, that's the only way you can get divorced from one another. But it was not meant to be that way. It's for them to be forever together. That's why he said, man, add that onto it until death do us part. God never said till death do you part.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't even scriptural.
Right.
You can't find that nowhere in the Word of God.
Right.
But he says that for this cause, if that should happen, then I would allow for a divorce, a separation. And why he would say that it was more for the man to do that than for the woman. It never said about the woman being able to do that against the man. If the man did that, because God already knew who was the weaker vessel and who caused all that emotion and commotion to go on anyway. So that's why he always put it on the woman. That was about her. I mean, it's a hard pill to swallow, but ladies, women, it's the truth. You know, you just have to accept the truth. It'll help you set yourself free from a lot of things you've been bound by, you know what I'm saying, and confused by, you know, and fooled by. Right. You know, the truth will set you free. And all God want to do is reunite man back with woman like it was in the garden before the fall.
Right. Now, that's a perfect segue to this part of this chapter that I want to read to y'all next, man. Everybody hit that like button, man. Subscribe to the page, click on the bell and all that. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, man, tapping in with us. And even shout out to y'all in the clouds watching, not hitting the like button or nothing. We appreciate y'all too. You know what I'm talking about? It's the perfect segue what my dad just said with this part of this chapter that I want to read. Even the definition of a family, meaning a male husband, the man, a female wife, woman, and a child or children, has to be redefined for the new age. Marilyn Ferguson has told us that this has already taken place. And as we see in 2022, we see this happening right now. The American Home Economics Association redefined the family in 1979 as two or more persons, meaning two men or two women, as well as one man and one woman, who share resources, share responsibility to one another over time. I'm going to read that again. The original design or definition of a family unit as designed by the Most High was a male or a man or a female, woman, and a child or children. And I wanted to read that like that, and I'm glad that they wrote that in this American Home Economics Association definition, because it acknowledges, it lets us know that they are acknowledging the original design while trying to circumvent it and invert it. This is saying that these people, they know who the Most High is. These descendants of the synagogue of Satan that are called Khazarian demons, which are directly descended from Lucifer, Satan, the devil himself. Right? They know that they know what the original structure is. They know what the original design is. They know the power of it, which is why they're circumventing it and inverting it. And now with a new definition, as per the American Home Economics Association in 1979, the definition of a family has gone from the Most High's original design, man, woman, child, to the demon time definition, which is two or more persons. Right? God created man. He didn't create persons. You hear me? I'm trying to understand. You're right. You feel me? The American Home Economics Association redefined the family unit in 1979 as two or more persons, meaning two men, two women, as well as one man and one woman, who shares resources and shares responsibility to one another over time. It doesn't say anything about sharing responsibility towards the children that may be involved. I want y'all to pay attention to that. Now, one might think or associate automatically as, well, if I have responsibilities or sharing responsibilities to you, that means the children involved. No, not necessarily. I want y'all, that's why I tell y'all to study words and language to understand the power of words and what they mean. Because it's a big difference between sharing responsibility to one another and sharing responsibility to the children that you may produce while you're dealing with another. Big difference. Just because I'm responsible to you doesn't mean I'm responsible to your children, according to this definition. I want y'all to understand what that means. Go ahead, Pops.
Okay. Now, to touch on more a little bit about what actually took place during the garden, the transformation and the fall and the descension of where they was at before and where they now begin to start arriving to be at with one another, okay? Because miraculous change took place between the both of them, okay? Each one of them, not only within each other, but also within their own selves. They begin to start seeing each other different, their whole perception. Because you got to remember now, the fruit, which was the knowledge of good and evil. Now, they already had good, remember? Now, it's the evil that is beginning to start manifesting itself. Not only that, but the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. Now they're connected and tapped into the physical, natural aspect of who they are as a person, a people. You know what I'm saying? As a woman, as a man. You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? Because this is what it's about now. Now they're starting to see their bodies in a whole different light. He began to start seeing what she about, the voluptuous shape of her breast and her chest and her body and her hips. You know, all this is now becoming more and more manifested and revealing to her. She's starting to see this with her natural vision. Because this is the lust of the flesh. She's starting to get introduced into her flesh in a whole different light. Adam also too. Same way with him. That's why that our flesh and our body affect us differently than the way women's flesh and their body affect them. As well as the mind, okay?
Shout out.
You got to look at the vanity of life now.
Right.
Okay.
Shout out to Andrew in the building, man. You already know that's exactly nuclear family, man. You already know, Andrea, man. That's exactly what Ralph Epperson was outlining in this chapter in the book. Go ahead, Pops.
See, so Eve is starting to know and getting more into her about her body, her physical looks, her shape, her beauty. Eve was a beautiful, you know, God, everything God said he made was good. You can imagine how handsome Adam was, how good looking Adam was. See, we don't have pictures of that to see it. I see it in the spiritual. I don't know how y'all can see it,
right,
but I see it in the spiritual. Same way that I saw how Lucifer was, being the most beautiful angel, archangel, and when he was in heaven before he fell, the beauty of him. I see it spiritually. I hope you can too.
Pause. Hey, hold on. Hey, hold on, Pop. Pause, man. You feel me? Hold on real quick, y'all. Look with these eyes, man. Not with these eyes, but with these eyes, man. Shout out to Larry Gators. Go ahead, Pops.
That's where beauty originates from God, because it's in his image and his likeness. If we could really see how God looked in the natural, but then we could because we saw it through Jesus Christ. Now, we today in our age, we don't know what Jesus Christ looked like. There's nobody left here to tell us what he looked like. But you can see what he looked like in the spirit. But even in the natural and the physical, he was a good-looking man. Because everything God do is good. Everything God makes is good. Ain't nothing but good about him. But anyway, so Eve's starting to recognize more and more about who she is now after the fall and came and she's seeing with her physical vision. Not just her physical, her spiritual vision is in lockdown. All right? That's shut down right now. Her and Adam's. So all it is about the natural and the physical ability of them and what they see. So she's starting to see where she at now with her flesh. And she said, oh, what? Look at this. See? Then, having the knowledge, you see what I'm saying? Like I said, they both work together hand in hand. But one is a little bit different than the other. There's knowing and then there's knowledge. Knowledge is knowing. Knowing is of having knowledge. Do you follow me? If you don't have knowledge, you ain't going to be able to know. And if you don't know, then that means you don't have knowledge. So they both have to connect. I hope I don't confuse nobody when I said that like that. Those who have eyes to see and ears to hear,
Right.
Let them hear what the Spirit is saying.
These ears hear, not these ears, not these eyes, but these eyes and these ears, man. Shout out to the homie Larry Garys, but I just had to emphasize that. Go ahead, Pops.
So what was going on her with right now at this time was that she was starting to see and feel and the manifestation of the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, which is vanity, which is pride, which has been stuck on yourself, being uppity, because you're aware of and you all caught up into the physical, natural ability of and your body of what you are and what you are about, because women, they hung up on their bodies. Women are more hung up on their bodies than men have ever been. Ladies, let me tell you. And once you out there tell me I'm not right, let me give you a little bit of history about Virgil Sr. when he was young in his day. All right? And I'm not bragging, I'm not boasting. This is a testimony, and this goes to show you what my portfolio is about, and I have it in facts. When I was in junior high school, I was the only male, the first male, that started and was going into what they call home economical classes. You women know what I'm talking about if you are familiar with being in junior high school. It's about learning you how to be housewives, women, mothers. You feel me? That's what the whole concept was about. Learning how to cook, clean, sew, deal with your children, everything. Home economics, right? It's for women. It's for females. I was the first male that broke that barrier. 1972. Nenmore Junior High School had so many classes of what they call classes that I had where you just be in and sitting around doing nothing. That I got tired of it. I told him, you got to give me something to do. So I said, what you going to do? I told him that. I'm going to make it short and quick and to the point. But I'm in a classroom with about 30 females, high school girls. I'm the only male. I'm not bragging, but I'm sharing with you something I don't share with many people. That's a part of what my predestination was, being a child of God. And what I had to go through and experience and know what God had for me to do. So that was a part of my life, And they loved me. I've been around females all my life, ever since I was a little boy. Me and my son going to do an episode about that, so I give you a little bit more in-depth about my personal life and experience.
Stay tuned.
I'm just giving you a little taste of it right now. I'm ready to cut that off. But anyway.
We got Cupcake in the building. What's up, baby? We got Cupcake in the building. My man Lance Parker in the building. What's popping with y'all, man? Andrea Go, Professor Uncle Diggity. Everybody else watching, what's good, man? Hit that like button, y'all, man. Subscribe to the page. Click on the bell and all of that, man. Share on your social media, man. Let's go.
All right. So I'm just saying that ladies, I know you as being female. I know you as being the weaker vessel, the tender gender, okay?
Hold on real quick. Not the tender gender.
The ladies, that's right, they're following me, they're from me. I ain't got no shame in that. That's what you got to understand and recognize in you as who's being a man. That's when you see a woman, you see the part of you.
Right.
Feel me?
Right.
See, it's your mind, whatever mind thinketh in his heart, that's also still what he is to believe that he is.
Right.
So, if you think on females, and you think that make you funny or weak or fruity in any way, then you blind anyway, because she's a part of you, she's part of you. What are you talking about?
Right.
That's the division and the separation I'm talking about, what has happened and became a part of man and woman after the fall. Come on, Virgil.
Talk to him, man. Hence the title of the show. The spiritual roots of the war between men and women. See, this thing always goes back to the source of what I'm talking about. In order to get to the solutions of any problems that we could possibly potentially ever have in this reality, especially, we have to get to the roots, and not only the roots, but we have to get to the spiritual roots, because we are spiritual in our nature and in our being, in our creation. You hear me? So, you know what I'm saying? And even y'all women that's being not created but was made spiritually.
That's right.
You feel me? Understand there's a big difference between being made and being made spiritually. Right? You know what I'm talking about? So, yeah. Go ahead, Pops.
That's right. But ladies, women, this is a man sharing with you for the first time. You'll never hear it from any other man, believe me. It comes from the mouth of Virgil Sr. I know about women, the weaker vessel. And my grounds and my pillar of that to say that is, it was my mother, my mom. Okay. That's who had me the way that I am now about women, because she was a woman.
Talk to him.
Feel me?
Rest in the essence to my granny, man. She was a sweetheart, man. Beautiful lady.
So I know how to treat a lady. I know how a lady to be, because that's the way I treated my mom. And that was a foundation that I laid down, that I will treat all women. Period. After that of my mother, that showed me the way a woman's supposed to be treated, and who she is and what she about. Because I spoiled my mother. And she taught me well. I didn't have sisters then. Nothing but brothers. And we had our special moments and times together with each other. So I know all my life has been around nothing but females. Everything that I've ever done. From junior high school on up. So I can speak about it. But I'm saying, we love you as a man. I do as a man. See, we lost our place like you lost your place. Time for us to reunite and get together. Really.
Right.
But women, y'all took a heavy beating. Really. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, but I'm just here just to help, because I've helped many women in my life. And it wasn't about no personal sexual relationship or nothing. It's about just me being who I am and a child of God and helping those who God brings into my life.
Right.
You come into my life is for a reason and a purpose. Because I'm not exposed to everybody like that yet. I'm just now coming out and being exposed by God, for God, through God, with God, about God. And it's my time to come forth. Because everything about me is going to be spiritual. But ladies, it's for you to know that God hears your cries. And you're not the way you're supposed to be with your counterpart, your rib, okay? You remember, lady, you're Adam's rib, your man's rib. I don't care how you top it or dice it. You hear me? You still his rib. You still come from him. That don't change nothing with God. All right? You're being cheated and deceived. You're one. You're one. And the devil don't want you to know where he got you at. Why it was you that he came to and not Adam. I'm not bashing at you, but I want you to be open to seeing the truth. Because the truth will set you free.
Right.
And that's all I speak is the truth. You ain't seen the spiritual powers that I have yet, ladies. But you will, because God's going to set you free. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying right now. But he wants man and woman to reunite and get back together. Okay? It's going to be that way anyway. Just because those who don't participate and be a part of, it don't stop nothing else. The show's still going to go on, as they say. But it's just sad when you're not a part of it. That's what hurts me. That's why you shouldn't be left out of that. Okay?
Right. Now, let me just say this real quick. Now, I want to remind y'all, right, that according to this chapter in the book, The New World Order by A. Ralph Epperson, right? The American. Now, remember my pops said he was one of the first guys to start going into the home economics class back when he was a young boy. That's when they first brought it in the school system.
Right.
And they, this is at a point in time where they were still promoting, as Andrea said, the nuclear family model, right? But this was done on purpose to use this to eventually, as we see today, to destroy that model, right? And here we have this definition of the American Home Economics Association, right? 2 or more persons, meaning 2 men or 2 women, as well as 1 man and 1 woman, one man and 1 woman, right? Now, peep this right here. The American concept of marriage is that of a male husband and a female wife. Homosexual or lesbian marriages are not legal. All right. Now, understand, I told y'all it's the difference between something being legal and something being lawful. All right. I want y'all to understand the difference between something being legal and something being lawful. Right. But that can change anytime. And this is where the lawful part comes in. Right. But that can change anytime those who make the laws decide to change it. The New Agers apparently want to change the law to allow the marriage of 2 men or 2 women. A major step in changing the traditional definition of the family just occurred in the state of New York. The headline of the July 6, 1989 article that discussed the change reads, Court rules gay couple a family. The article reported, New York's highest court ruled today that a partner in a long-term homosexual relationship may take over the couple's rent-controlled apartment when the lover who signed the lease dies. The Court of Appeals ordered a lower court to reconsider its decision to evict a New York City man from a rent-controlled apartment he shared with his now dead lover. The court expanded the definition of a family, right? The word is crucial because state law says only family members may take over rent-controlled apartments when the tenant of record dies. And I just pointed that out just to emphasize on how this whole structure is being circumvented and inverted, like I said, and like my pops was talking about, considering this war that's been going on between men and women spiritually anyway, it's inverted. Now the women are being made to be the men, and the men are being made the women in all ways that the Most High originally designed it. Now the women are being given a false sense. See what I say? Inversion. It's dominion, but it's a false sense of dominion. It's an inverted version of dominion. It's not really dominion. It's really the perception or the illusion of dominion.
And it's a cloak. That's what you call a cloak.
Right. Yeah. Like
exactly. That what really is that is just you know what I'm saying? It's a deception of what really being hidden.
Right.
You know, to get your eyes focused on that which you see. You know, is the outer garment. That's what you call a cloak. You know,
right.
It's something else. See, there's the cloak and then there's the coat. What we call the cape.
Right.
You know, and then you have the jacket. You know, or the coat. You know. But the cloak is the outer garment that covers the cloak, which is the inner garment. You know what I'm saying? And that's what that be when people be covering up stuff with other stuff about what you just said, son. That's just what that is.
Right.
You know, but the point is that still his main goal is to tear down the family circle of man and woman, you know, and it takes a man and a woman to keep a family circle and make a family circle. So when the Satan causes this distinction, you know what I'm saying, and this division against man and woman, then that's accomplishing what he wanted to do. And this is what's happening, is where we at today. Jesus foretook of that back in his day, you know.
Right.
When we were trying and raising sand about, you know, what we see. Because Jesus, he could look into the future. He could see things that would come to be. That's what he always said. These are things to come. These are things to come. These are things has not yet happened. But these things will be coming. He prophesied. He was the last prophet. Come on, people. Eat the word of God in flesh. He's the same word that said, in the beginning, let there be heaven and earth. Let there be light. That's the same one, the Word of God. That's all Jesus Christ was, incarnated in flesh. In the beginning, Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and the earth. 3 heavens, 1 earth. Plural and singular. And everything else about it, right? You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
That was the Word.
I don't think. Hold on, real quick. Hold on. I don't think y'all just caught that, man. And y'all been sitting up here reading the Bible all y'all's life, and y'all ain't pay attention to that. In the beginning, God created the heavens, plural, and the earth, singular. Right? But tap in, right? God didn't create the world. And this is something me and my pops gonna break down one of these days too, because I know a lot of y'all get this confused, and this is where a part of this situation we talking about tonight, the war between men and women. This is where this comes from, because we don't understand the roots. That's why I titled the Sunday show "Spiritual Roots," because we got to the roots, and when we get to the roots, we gotta get to the roots of the other roots, and to the roots of the roots that's underneath them other roots. You know what I'm talking about? In the beginning, God created the heavens. It doesn't say heaven. It said heavens with an S. That means plural, more than one, right? And the earth, singular, one earth. Now, think about what I'm talking about now when I talk about the Marvel universe, right? And there's different dimensions. There's different versions of Earth. We've seen this with the latest Doctor Strange movie, and we've seen this with the Spider-Man animated movie that came out with not too long ago, a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing different versions of the Earth, but in the original design, there's only one Earth. But in the Marvel universe, there's 1,000 different, up to 1,000 different Earths. All right. Exactly, Uncle Diggity. The world equals how society functions in this reality. Society doesn't function in this reality as it does in another reality or heavens. Right? You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all to think about that. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Not earths, but one earth. Right? I want y'all to understand the significance and how powerful and what that implies as in us. Right? As being humans on earth, in this reality. Right? And how what we talking about as in reference to the war between man and woman, right? Is one of the key one of the main ways is that what's happening now is happening as far as the rulers of darkness of other worlds invading our reality. You understand when I say what I just said? I know y'all getting. I know y'all out there that got the ears and eyes to see and hear and know what I'm talking about. Let's go, Pops.
Go ahead, son.
No, go ahead. I'm throwing it back to you. I'm throwing the ball back in your court.
All right. Yeah, just like you were saying, man, about the Word. He was the Word in flesh. You know what I'm saying? He was the Word. So you have to understand that. He was speaking. He was actually God. He was all 3 of them. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It was in him at that time. Right. You know, so he was fully loaded. That was God, period, as a spirit on earth, period. All of him. Check this out, people. Oh, this is a nugget. This is a nugget. For those who have ears and eyes to hear spiritually, please catch this. Catch this. I want y'all to catch this. He was actually the whole Godhead of everything that is of God as a spirit. At that moment in time, in Jesus Christ, that time when he was on the earth in flesh, everything else in the heavens and the kingdom of God was everything else he had created and made it to be. All the celestial beings, okay? All the terrestrial beings, all right? the cherubs and the angels and everybody and everything. God left heaven. You hear what I'm saying? He left his kingdom. And all of him and the fullness of him at that time was in Jesus Christ. Thank you. That's deep. Some of y'all get it. Some of y'all won't. The ones who don't, they ain't ready for it yet. And those who do, thank God that you was open in perception to be able to see it. Because Jesus said that, hey, let your eyes be open. Him that have ears to hear, let them hear. Not just physically and naturally, but also spiritually. That's why we have two sets of ears and two sets of really eyes that we hear and we see with. Unless you're born again, you can't enter into the kingdom of heaven. Unless you're born again, you can't even see. See, what does seeing mean? Vision, don't it? Whether it's physically or spiritually, or whatever vision. There's only other one vision, and that's no vision. That's being blind. And how many people in the world are blind? Not physically blind, but spiritually blind. Have no spiritual life. Not connected to it at all in any form, way, shape, or fashion. That's what Jesus came down here to do. To restore that spiritual light in you, to know who you are and what you are. But he was the Word in flesh. Not only did it say that in Genesis 1:1, but it says in John of the Gospels, chapter 1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life. Now this is when he started bringing man into the picture. Listen to what I'm saying. He's now bringing man and his creation into the picture. All things were made by him, and without him was not nothing or anything made that was made. And in him was life, and the life was the light of men. Men. Did I tell you I was going to bring man into it? Hello? And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. That means not only just darkness, physical darkness, but spiritual darkness too. Where Satan dwells. He didn't even know. He couldn't even understand it. He didn't know what was going on. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not the light, talking about John the Baptist, but was sent to bear witness of the light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. From the beginning of the time when God told Adam and Eve in the garden, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth. Oh Lord, fill the earth. That's what they did. That's why it includes all men. No matter how many times babies are born into this earth, it includes them automatically. And that was the light which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. And he was in the world, and the world was made by him. Why? From the beginning of Genesis 1:1, in the beginning God said, let there be heaven and earth. He was the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He was in the world. And that's when he came in flesh form in Jesus Christ. Now he's in the earth. Legally. He's in the earth. Legally.
I told y'all it's the difference between legal and lawful, right?
Now the whole world was made by him. He said he was the true light. He said he was in the world. That's when he came into the world. That's when he was born through the Virgin Mary. He was now legally in the earth. He said the world was made by him, showing he taking it back to the beginning. God said, let there be. God said, let there be. He spoke. Said he came into his own, and his own knew him not. People that read about him and studied about him and was waiting on him all their lives. The children of Israel. The Jews. From Abraham's time all the way, from Noah's time. But that's when the flood took place. That's when the flood took place. But from Noah on up to where we at right now, people, you hear me? These people did not know him. They didn't receive him. The Jews was his people. That's who he came to. That's who he came to. That's who he was for at first. He came into the world. That's all the rest of mankind. That's what they're saying. All the rest of mankind. When he said the world, that's all of the rest of mankind. The Gentiles, what we are considered to be. And the reason why the rest of all nationalities and origins and races of people is considered to be named and called Gentiles is because they not of Jewish descendants from God. Okay, that's something God put them. Jews is a race. It's not a race. It's who God's people are. Okay, it's His origin of mankind, of man. That's who He chose to use. And that's what type of man He chose to use to make them Jewish. It's all about the blood. It's all about the blood, and it's all about the ancestry. When you go way back, you know, to the elders and tribes, 12 tribes, 24 tribes. So that gets deep too. But we at the place now to where that God is trying to restore man and woman. I never get off of my subject, people. Don't think because I go out, you just got to ride with me. It's a long ride, but it's worth it. So I'm always bringing you back to where we started, okay? But it's about man and woman. And the thing that I want to put a little more emphasis on is that, ladies, please, this is what happened to you, your mother, Eve. These are all the repercussions, the side effects, the consequences that came along with all that, what happened when it happened with her. With her. It's not even about Adam the man, but it's about her, because God dealt with each one of them individually. He didn't put them all together and then scold all of them. He went to each one of them individually and told them and dealt with them for what they did. Not nobody else. But one thing about it, each one of them passed the buck on one another. Right? From Adam to saying that it was Eve, and from Eve to saying it was a serpent. The serpent was the only one that didn't blame somebody else. He was the only one to say, yeah, it's all me. Yeah, I did all this. You know?
I'm proud to say it too.
But Adam and Eve, they passed the buck to each other. That's caused the first separation and division between them.
So like I say, y'all, we get into the spiritual roots of the war, man. This thing.
Yeah.
This thing ain't nothing new. But I want y'all to know that it's not the original design. Like my pops just said, all of this war and this separation is all the result of Eve's contact with the serpent. Now, and I know that sounds harsh, and I know it puts off the perception that we're blaming women, but no, we're not blaming. We're just really spiritually being historically correct, so to speak, Pops. You hear me?
Son, you don't have to defend that. That's truth.
Right.
That's truth and that's scripture. So, you know what I'm saying? You never have to defend the word of God.
Right.
Especially when you can show it to them and they see it with their own eyes, then that's for them to deal with it.
Right.
Believe me, I understand what you're saying, and that's just compassion that you have.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I feel that. But God says, let them deal with it the way that they received it, and it's on them, okay? You don't never have to defend the word of God. That's why Jesus would always say, sometimes he wouldn't say anything when they were trying to get him to answer him when they questioned him.
Right.
He didn't have to say nothing. You know why he didn't never have to say nothing? Because the Father didn't have to say nothing, and he didn't have to defend himself or prove who he was. You feel me? And that's where we stand. That's where anybody stand when they believe in what is right. Not what they believe what is right, but what is right.
Right.
And not what they believe what is the truth, but what is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus said, I am the truth and the life.
Now hold on real quick, Pop. He didn't say I'm a truth. He didn't say I'm my truth.
Is the truth.
He said the truth. And I'll emphasize on this one. Hold on, let me come up for this, man.
You don't know that title.
Hold on. And I'll emphasize on this a lot. All that people talking about speaking my truth. Rest in the essence to Kevin Samuels. French toast your truth. How about that? Only thing that matters is the truth. Right? Your truth don't mean jack squat. You hear me? Only thing that matters is the truth. Hit that like button, y'all. Spiritual Roots Sundays with me and my pops, Virgil Berry Sr. We going in the war, spiritual roots of the war between men and women. And I'm glad my pops just said what he just said. We don't have to defend the truth. You know what I'm saying? When the truth is the living word of the Most High. You hear what I'm saying? Capital G, capital O, capital D. You understand what I'm saying? Infinite awareness. You know what I'm talking about, man? You don't have to defend it because it just is. It just is what it is, man. You know what I'm talking about? It just is. You know, it just is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? Go ahead and talk to him, Pop.
Yeah, and not only that, son, but you know what Jesus told some of them when he had to deal with that same thing about the Pharisees and the scribes, the ones that who held the law of Moses and supposed to be so spiritual and religious and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Told them, you know, about a position. He used that parable, okay, about a position. And they were telling him that they all right and they well and they whole because, in other words, that they wasn't sick, you know, and everything and whatnot. So everything was all right with them because they had the law and they knew everything. And Jesus told them because of the fact that you think that you are all that and you are sick and you are well and you're supposed to be a physician, he said that's all even more what makes you more sicker because I come to heal the sick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying y'all ain't sick because y'all all well and know everything on top of everything. He said, and them ain't the ones that I come for. I come for the ones that are sick and in need. You know, but because y'all think that y'all are all well and nothing right with y'all, that means y'all sins remain. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's what I was saying. The troubles of being the sicknesses on knowing the condition that you in, being a sinner. You know what I'm saying? Being the condition that you are in is being a fallen man. Man know he has fallen with his God. God would not keep that from his man. You know what I'm saying? If anything else you don't know, you do know that it's because of where you're at and the way you're about because you have fallen and you have sinned. You can't never come to God and tell him that you didn't know nothing about what he was talking about and everything that is what it is, because in certain ways he has letting you know, he has letting man know. There's certain, the only thing God keeps hidden from man is spiritual things. When they are not spiritually enlightened or spiritually born again, okay? They have not yet been reconnected with God spiritually, so therefore that is the unsaved world. So therefore you don't know nothing spiritually, no way. Period. That's why you in the condition that you in. But for those that who know, and they seen and they know, but they know their condition. And we got to understand that and start saying that. You know, we got to get back to that, man. You know, God said, your word. This is all about me. You got to start knowing who you are. You don't have to, you know, that's why things are going on between man and woman. You know, he's trying to reconnect everything and restore, restoration. That's the word that I use, that what he's doing between Adam and Eve. It's restoration and reconciliation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people ain't used to those words. See, those words come out of the Bible. They spiritual first before man got a hold to it and messed it up and put it in his own natural way of thinking. See, there's difference between different spiritual words and meaning and physical and natural words and meaning. Okay? But even though you can read something in a book, if you can't see the spiritualness behind it, you'll never know what it really is telling you because it's encoded. Okay? What we call encrypted. That's cell phone language.
Yeah, I ain't read that, and that's why. You know what I'm talking about?
You don't want nobody else to know that you messing with it or interacting with and everything. That it's only between you and them. This cell phone is monstrous. All right, hey. This is the work of the devil. Believe me. And it takes what knowing the knowledge of good and evil and how you use it.
No.
Believe it.
No, so the word crypt. C-R-Y.
Son?
Yeah, C-R-Y-P-T, crypt.
Yeah,
Crypt
right.
is a Latin Vulgate term meaning death or decay, right? So when you encrypt something,
exactly,
right? Think about what it means to encrypt something. E-N-N means to enter or to be a part of or to make to make or to combine, right? Or to join is what the suffix en stands for, right? So when you encrypt something, you are basically entering into death. You are combining, connecting it with death, or that which is not natural, or that which is out of the original design, right? So pay attention to what I'll be talking about when I say the unintelligent artificial intelligence, and how it is literally the electronic holographic in this reality expression of Lucifer, Satan, the devil, right? The unintelligent artificial intelligence is the encrypted, inverted, right, manifestation of Lucifer, Satan, the devil. I want y'all to understand this stuff, man. You hear me? And this all goes to the roots of what we're talking about tonight, with the spiritual roots of the war between men and women. It all goes down to what happened, like my pops say, in the garden, man. You hear me? I want y'all to understand what I just said, man. Go ahead and talk to him, pops, man.
Now, I wanted to go a little bit deeper into the rabbit hole about the three different things that took place in the transformation and the fall of man and woman, and with Eve.
Right.
Okay.
Talk to him.
This is just reality, ladies. Please listen with your spiritual.
Walk with us. Listen here. Hold on, Paul. Hold on. Listen, y'all. Watch with these eyes here, and listen with these ears here. Don't listen with these ears and these eyes here. Watch with these eyes here. We've been falsely misled that we should make moves we shouldn't make moves unless our heart is in it. Rest in the essence to Biggie Smalls, right? All right. No. If I'm not correct, does the scripture not say, Father, Pops, does it not say that the heart is wicked and deceitful? Who could know it? Does the Bible not say that?
That's right.
So with that being said, y'all, don't make decisions based off of how you feel. Don't do that, because your heart is wicked in its nature, in its design, in its reality anyway, and is deceitful above all things. God said that. It's deceitful. Who can know it? Only one person can know it.
Yeah.
Or one, right? So with that being said, don't make moves with your heart, man, with how you feel. And that's why women aren't the war between men and women. This is why y'all not designed to rule and lead and be authority, because based off of y'all's contact with the serpent, Lucifer, Satan, the devil, right? Y'all have identified yourself with the emotions, which I told you in the beginning was not of y'all's original design, because God didn't create us to be emotional. Emotions came from the contact with the serpent. Eve's contact with the serpent, not Adam's contact with the serpent. Talk to him, Pops.
Yeah, and also too, ladies, it involves both man and woman.
Right.
Okay. And that's without saying. But right now, our focus is on women, because like my son said, that's where they went, that's where it came down, so that's what I'm going to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And all I'm trying to do is to help open up your eyes to see what has really happened to you or your first mother, to why that you go through what you're going through today.
Right, exactly.
If you're confused about you and who you are and yourself as being a woman and a female, as a man is, that said that knowing you are a man and a female, and believe it or not, he know more about you than you think that he don't, because you are part of him and from him. You think he don't?
Now let me stop you right there, Pops. Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. Do y'all hear what my Pops just said, man? All right. And this is why LSD is able to use this crutch right here to further exacerbate the war between men and women, right? Because of that fact right there, which has become inverted and circumvented. And I say this all the time, man. You know what I'm saying? I say this all the time, right? Man, this is some ill stuff right here, man. You know what I mean? It was the reason why it came to the woman first, man. You hear me? And you know, when it comes to this whole situation, y'all, like I said, I know it can get into a situation where it's like somebody could be considered bashing or something though, but it's just like when we get into the spiritual roots of this stuff, though, we got to be honest. And we got to get to what actually is the situation, especially if a lot of people are going to be calling themselves religious or Christians or believing in the word, right? And, you know, so I just wanted to, you know what I'm saying, point out how important it is to have this discussion with my pops, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I mean, when it comes to this whole war, it has its spiritual roots. Go ahead, Pops.
Yeah, and like you were saying, son, and also, too, it's just to let you see, ladies, that when you recognize what is going on, like I said, the truth sets you free, you know. And you know that something is going on inside of you that shouldn't be, that is a part of you, you know. You know the negativity of it. You know the dark side of it. You know there's something not right with you as being who you was from the beginning when you taking the attributes of your mother Eve from the garden, because a tremendous change has taken place, not only with you, but also with Adam, with man. You know, but because of my experience of being around females all my life, starting with my mother being the first one. Hello. And I love my mom. She was a beautiful person. I couldn't thank God no more for the parents who he chose to bring me down through in this physical world. You know what I'm saying? I thank God for my mom because he connected me with who I'm supposed to be connected with. That's because who I am, from where I came from the beginning, and that I'm a spirit person. You ask me who is me, I'm saying I'm a spirit person. And I'm a child of God, and I'm a man in the earth. Okay? That's my credentials. But she was everything that I needed to bring me into what I need to be brought into it. And my life is already predestinated. See, I'm on a set course. I don't know about nobody else's faith.
Right.
Or with God, or in God, or with God, or whatever, but you know, it ain't nothing that no one ever has to prove to anybody else about.
Right.
And if you do, that's because you just choose to be taken there, you know, and you just got to go along with the ride and ride it out until it come out however it do.
Mm-hmm.
In your good, you know, faith that it does, but still you got to ride it out. But I'm glad that who I am, you know, that I am, you know. So when I say that anything that I share with you all in YouTube, man, it's because I experienced it. It's not nothing somebody told me. It's what I actually experienced in my life. And I have a very fascinating life. I'm a very fascinating person. I ain't bragging. Give honor what honor is due. You know, if you don't see in yourself who you are and what you are as anybody else, how do you expect anybody else to see you like that?
Right.
Starts within you, you know. Like Jesus told them, I know who I am. I know where I come from, and I know where I'm going. Now, they thought he was talking about the physical, fleshy, natural part of him. Now, he's talking about him being the Word of God, the Son of God, the Spirit of God, you know. I left the kingdom, you know. I'm down here among the ones that I created. You know, y'all just don't know. That's why I said he came into the world and the world knew him not. They didn't know who he was. He was just another physical, fleshly human being as far as they was concerned. Right. Then he came into his own and they didn't even receive him. They know who he was, but they didn't believe that he was who he was. You know, they just didn't receive him. What I call rejection. We know about the word rejection. We all been rejected. That's the real word to use. It ain't so much about a lot of other things people say about why they don't like you or whatever, but the real truth is that rejection comes in the end. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much ice you put on that cake to cover it up. It's still rejection, you know, and that's what they did to him, you know. The one that came there for y'all. I'm the reason, y'all the reason why I came here, and y'all knew about me. And still rejected. And man and woman, that's what is happening with them. They reject each other.
Right.
And rejection, that's a spirit. More than just a word, but it's a spirit, and it's a powerful force behind it. You know what it is to be rejected? That's the tool that the enemy uses to work with in man, and through man, and with man, and about man. To us to reject who? Each other. To keep that separation and to keep that chaos and from us connecting, because he know he whooped. You know, he don't have a chance. And he knew he hit home run when he got through Adam and Eve, you know, especially with Eve, lust of the flesh. Now let me give you a deeper understanding of when I say these three sins, because that's what they are. They're sins, and they're all pertaining to the flesh. The flesh. Not the body, the vessel, not the temple, not the dwelling place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Understand me? But it all pertains to and affects and has to do directly with the flesh. First of all, it even affects the visions. Your eyes is the first one that it messes with, and it has a part of affective to it. The lust of the eye. So what does that mean? That means you can see, right?
Right.
Then it says the lust of the flesh. Now the lust of the eye is that anything that physically that you can see with the eye, and lust means that it's a strong want, a strong desire. Okay? Lust don't have to necessarily become a sin yet. You know, that's the first phase of it, is just that you're lusting because you're sinning. That's the first move. You ain't made no other move yet going forward with that, but it's lust. A strong desire, a want, a hunger, a need, you know, or what we call a hankering for, you know, or just got to have it, whatever, you know. But you notice it's the flesh. Don't you know the flesh getting hungry? What you think that is when you get hungry and want something to eat? What you think that is? That's the flesh being hungry. Then it'll get to the phase if you don't feed it right off, then you'll start really wanting it and craving it, because you got to have it. That's what makes it function. That's what keeps it alive. Not just physical, natural food that you eat in it, but also anything else that you put in it that you desire and want. Oh, this is deep. Deep. It ain't just with food that you got the lust after. It ain't just with food, physically, naturally, that what the flesh be lusting for. See, everything that what it has, that's lust anyway. No matter what department you might put it in, greed, whether it's sexual, physical, mentally, natural, it don't make no difference. People lust for all kinds of things. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing necessarily tangible.
Right.
They lust for power.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They lust for luck, for fame, for fortune, for riches.
Attention.
You know, yeah, for attention.
Now let me interrupt you real quick, Pop. Now listen, one of the main things, one of those intangible things, right? Shout out to Simple P, because he said this all the time too. Clout. What we know today is clout.
Clout, right?
Clout. Y'all, they do anything for clout. They do anything for clout. Clout has become the most powerful drug known to man in the past 5 to 10 years.
Right.
The perception that you are something that you are not has become more important than being the actual person that you actually are.
Exactly.
You hear me? I'm going to repeat that. The perception of something or someone that you actually are not has become more important than being the person who you actually are.
That's right.
Right? That's why I always say, do you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be?
Exactly.
You hear me? Now this is one of the main causes of the war between men, and when we get to the spiritual roots of the war, this so-called war between men and women, right? That's one of the major tenets of it right there, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think it will behoove you to inform yourself on what the difference is, man. You know what I'm saying? Do you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be? Have you made it more important to how can I say? Have you made it more important to keep up the image of what you are versus just being the actual person that you are or who you are? That's powerful right there, man.
It is. And you know what, son? I'm going to put some scriptural icing on that to back up everything that you just said.
Talk to him.
And this is what Jesus said. He said that, what manner of man are you? This is what a manner of man is, that he knows what he's about and what he looks like and what he is. Looking at himself in the mirror. Looking at himself in a mirror. And he knows everything about what he really is and what he truly is to be. But yet, as soon as he get away from that mirror and don't no longer see the reflection of himself or what manner of man that he is, he forget all about, hello, what manner of man that he is to be and was. That quickly he forgets. As long as he can see himself in the mirror and reflection of what he said is, then if it's supposed to be true and real, then as soon as he get away from it, like you said, when all other things come into his life that changes him to be something that something else want him to be, or he evolves himself around whatever that is bowing down to him, that he want it to be to them, because that's how they see him. So all he's doing is responding and reacting about the way that they see him, that he's giving them that manifestation of him, and he's not being his real self. That's when he put aside his real self, his value, and he become another man in another way. But he forget what manner of man that he really was from the beginning when he first saw himself in the mirror as truly what he really was from the beginning. And all that afterwards done changed him so that he's a whole nother different man.
Right.
Forget what manner of man that you was from the beginning. And that's what goes on in the world with man, in the entertainment industry and in any place else that has to do with man and his system and making money, fame, and fortune. That's lust of the eye.
Right.
Vanity, the pride of life, that's what pride of life means. It means vanity. It means about into oneself. You hung up on you, whether it's inward you or whether it's outward you, Some people are hung up on themselves because they are intelligent, you know what I'm saying? Inside, mentally intelligent, The knowledge and wisdom that they have is being smart. They brag about it, they boast about it, they throw it about. Then you got those that got money, plenty of wealth, materialistic, tangible, monetary things. They throw it in your things. Oh, I can go buy this, I can go buy that. You feel what I'm saying? Those are the different categories.
Right.
But all still in the same circle. Vanity. Doctors. Anybody that got degrees and certificates and whatever, I'm the best, they brag. All that is vanity. Vanity.
Right. Salute.
That's man hung up on himself in flesh. That's the lust of the flesh. That's the pride of life. That's what the pride of life is.
Right.
See, there's 3 sins.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them are about the flesh. All 3 of them is about the flesh, but the other one is about the flesh, the vision, and the other one is about the intelligence of who you are and what you think you are about. Being snobbish about yourself. That's when you're into your flesh, your body. That's what happened to Eve. She started seeing who she really was in that light and in that vision. And then with evil already working in her and the knowledge and having the knowledge of knowing how to work it. Like I said, if you don't know how to work something, it ain't no good to having it if you don't know how to work it.
Right.
In order to know how to work it, you got to have the knowledge of knowing how to work it.
Right. Shout out to OG, man. So OG says salute to you, Virgil, and Virgil seeing sliding through, man. Hit the like. We'll catch the replay tomorrow. You already know, OG, man. We appreciate you sliding through. I'll just this is why I say just to bring some revelation to y'all, bring things full circle, man. You know what I mean? Y'all notice my pop say, looking in the mirror, man. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of the major reasons why I'm posting this right here. This is the cover for my album, The Real Contender. This is why I called it The Real Contender, because your greatest enemy is always going to always be yourself, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to look in the mirror and see the real contender, the real challenge, man, the real enemy. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be your reflection. And always understand this, y'all, too. That when you look in the mirror, it's a reflection looking back at itself. But listen, that reflection, that image in the mirror, that's not you.
Right.
It's a reflection of you.
Right.
It's not who you are. It's a figment of what you are, or a reflection of what you are in this reality. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? Y'all think about that. You know what I mean? That's the reason why I named my album The Real Contender. And that's the reason why I took that picture right there and have it as the title of my album. Because in connection to what we just said and what my pops just said, that in order for us to get back to where we need to get back as men, we got to be able to look at ourselves and see where we failing at, where we need to improve at, you know what I'm saying, and be able to look at our own image, you know what I'm saying, and realize that when we do look in the mirror, is the image of, like I said, what we are, not who we are, you know what I mean? But in order to understand who you are, you have to understand what you are, and more importantly, what you are not.
Exactly.
You feel me? And when you look in the mirror and realize that that image is a reflection of who you are, but it is not of what you are, but not who you are. And that's why I say when that reflection that you're looking in the mirror, that's not real. That's not you. I want y'all to understand what I'm saying right now. When you look in the mirror and that image that you see, it is not you. It is distorted. It is inverted. It is literally the inverted version of yourself in this reality. It is the illusion and then within the illusion, right? When you look in the mirror, that image you see in the glass, that is not you. It's not real. I want y'all to understand what I'm saying, especially in relation to what we're talking about tonight, man. You know what I'm saying? The war between men and women has basically been able to go on for so long because due to the interaction and the contact with the serpent, these original roles have been inverted. You know what I mean? And this is the very thing right here is because we have lost, like my pop said, we have lost sight of who we are and not only who we are, but what our roles are, right? Especially when it comes to the divine design that they were originally designed in the original structure and order. You know, so hit that like button, man. Subscribe to the page and all of that. Pops, man, you got something that you want to say? We're about to close it up here in a second. What you got anything to say in your closure? Or if you still got some more stuff you want to talk about, go ahead.
Well, we can make this a part two. We can make it a part two because there's a whole lot of ground to cover.
Right.
Yeah, make it a part two.
Yeah, we might have to get into part two of the spiritual roots of the war between men and women next Sunday. So that's probably what we're going to do. You go ahead in your closing, Pops, man. Go ahead and leave them with something so we can look forward to next Sunday.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say this goes out to all the women, the tender gender, the weaker vessel, the woman, my rib, my helpmate. This goes out to all you all from Eve, the first mother of all you. That my heart is with you, and all I want to do is to restore back what it was and the way it was in the beginning between me and you. Because I'm man, and you woman. But that's how I see it, okay? It ain't about no individual or no personal level, nothing like that. It's about a whole. The whole concept of it is that I am man and you are woman. And you are part of my rib. You're from me, okay? And all I want us to do is that for us to restore each other because it's all a part of God's grander plan to unite and to restore and reconcile everything back to what it was in the beginning. Because everything's going to come back to what it was in the beginning. You know, it didn't start off in chaos. Do you hear me? It did not start off in chaos and destruction. But all in the middle and in between and getting near the end, when it all come back to the end, it's going to all be like it was. It's coming full circle. Started from the spiritual, it's going back to the spiritual. That's where it's going to reconnect. So like I said, you follow anything far enough and long enough, it'll always bring you back to the beginning of what it was and where it started. And that's what I'm leaving out with tonight. So I hope this was something for everybody. It's going to be a part 2, believe me. And you have a blessed week coming ahead. And God open up your eyes continually, spiritually and physically, and feed all those who was hungry.
That's all for y'all.
And feed all those who might not have wanted it, but anyway, was able to just get some of it anyway, for what nothing but from the smell of it. That it'll do some good for you in your spirit, your heart, and your soul. And we'll see you all next week.
You already know.
All right.
All right, I'll holler at you behind the scenes, Pops.
All right, son.
All right, I love you, man.
Love you too.
All right. Yeah, so man, y'all know what it is, man. Y'all heard what my pop said, man. Man, we thank y'all for coming out tonight, man. You know how we do it, man, over here on Sundays, Spiritual Roots Sundays. Y'all know we get straight to it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this is a lot of ground to cover with this subject. So it's definitely going to be a part 2 next Sunday. We get into part 2 of the spiritual roots of the war between men and women. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I appreciate everybody coming out, man. It's a serious situation, man. There's a lot of, the different aspects to this conversation. It's a lot of different things that go inside, or coincide with this. And it's a very intricate, very detailed, situation. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of different things that we're going to have to connect and correlate to bring further revelation and further, acknowledgement and further over inner out understanding of where this thing all started at and where is it going to. You know what I mean? And like I said, we can always have influence over where it's going to. And I strongly believe, matter of fact, I know that once we really start looking into the spiritual aspect of things and get to our proper roles, man, we can bring balance back to this reality, man. It can be the world, or should I say, can be the earth, you know what I'm saying, that the Most High originally designed before it got manipulated and invaded and assimilated and uploaded, you hear me, into this, how can you say it, into this matrix. That's a perfect word I can say for a matrix that it is to this day. So, you know what I'm saying? Thank everybody for coming out. Hit that like button on the way out. Y'all heard what Cupcake say. Shout out to my baby Cupcake, man. Renda Fillmore, man. You know she in the building, man. She's supportive. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to her. Shout out to OG coming through. It don't matter if you're late to the demonstration. If you're late, you're right on time, man. You can always watch the replay. You can always check it out some other time at your own leisure, man. We went in tonight. Part 2. Next Sunday, we're going in part 2 to the spiritual roots of the war between men and women, featuring my pops. Tomorrow night, we going in. You hear me? We're going to be breaking down the WIMKIN movie and another movie, American Refugee. I swear, man, that movie, American Refugee, is so ill, y'all. Y'all need to go check that out. You know what I'm saying? It's lightweight, kind of more controversial than the WIMKIN in its actuality, because American Refugee, whereas the WIMKIN was a movie that was based off of false information, distorted information, basically lies to some major degrees. This movie, American Refugee, is actually a reflection of what society actually is, especially in America. And we're going to break it down tomorrow, man. I strongly suggest that, if you find the time between now and tomorrow night at 8, we're going in. Y'all can watch that movie, American Refugee. It's only like about an hour and some change. It's definitely on the fire stick. It's a dope-ass movie. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. So y'all make sure y'all tap in and walk with us Tuesday. Of course, y'all know me and L going in. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be talking about this whole situation with what's his name? Ime Udoka, or whatever the guy's name is, with the whole Boston Celtics thing. And we're going to get into that. And we got a fun-filled week coming up, basically, man. Nice topics of discussion, and we're going to get into it. So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. We appreciate y'all coming out. I'm going to leave y'all with this song right here. I think it's only right since we had this conversation. You know what I'm saying? This is the song Everything off of my album, The Real Contender. You know what I'm talking about? Everything, man. It's a real situation, man. Next Sunday, we're going in with part 2, finishing up the rest of part 2, Spiritual Roots of the War Between Men and Women. Y'all hit that like button on y'all way out. Appreciate y'all coming out. Like I say, y'all could be anywhere in the world, but y'all right here with us, man. We appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button on our way out. Click on the subscribing bell. Subscribe to the page. Share on your social engineering and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Get out of the habit of calling it social media, calling it what it really is, social engineering. You hear me? So we're going to ride out to this last track right here, or to this track right here off of my album, The Real Contender. You know what I'm saying? Everything, man, because we are everything and everything is us, like I said in the hook. You know what I'm talking about? Thank y'all for coming out tonight, man. Hit that like button on the way out, y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all, man. See y'all tomorrow, man.
Yeah, stacks with the facts, stacks with the facts. Immediately, the real contender. You know, we be manipulated into thinking that we're so different. No, actuality, the things that we allow to separate us, man, are the very same things that can unite us all. What we gonna do, y'all? We all one. It's time for us to wake up. Conflict creates controversy, causes confusion. I don't believe in it all because it's all illusions. No difference between us because I am you and you and me. Everything is us and we are everything. Conflict creates controversy, causes confusion. I don't believe in it all because it's all illusions. No difference between us because I am you and you and me. Everything is us and we are everything. When I was sitting in prison, I had the illest visions. Waking up in cold sweats, thought I was really tripping. I'm getting letters from Adrian saying I miss you, brother. I'm getting God body books sent to me by my mother. It's funny how you don't realize till you get locked away. How many years you wasted just was in the way. Many you call, only a few get chosen though. The smart grid is now here, but it ain't over though. They gotta try to divide us and keep us separated. But if we all come together, we could never be Cajun. I'm trying to bring all us together, my sister and brethren. Ain't no difference between us, we each other's reflection. Conflict creates controversy, causes confusion. I don't believe in it all because it's all illusions. No difference between us because I am you and you and me. Everything is us and we are everything. Conflict creates controversy, causes confusion. I don't believe in it all because it's all illusions. No difference between us because I am you and you and me. Everything is us and we are everything. You in Agenda 2030 is right in our face. Coronavirus got us all with masks on our face. We get a losing the choice from public politicians. And the black bootleg, they control our position. You know they give us all leaders, tell us to follow them. They separate and divide us because it profits them. I'm an action Brazilian plans and weaponized weather. They playing us like a hawk, and we should all know better. GMO foods and you know they put poison in our water. The prison system take fathers away from sons and daughters. I'm trying to clear out a path that lead us from the slaughter. I don't just do it for me, I do this shit for all us. Conflict creates controversy, causes confusion. I don't believe in it all because it's all illusions. No difference between us because I am you and you and me. Everything is us and we are everything. Conflict creates controversy, causes confusion. I don't believe in it all because it's all illusions. No difference between us because I am you and you and me. Everything is us and we are everything. Everything. Stacks with the facts. E&E. 2020 takeover. The real contender. Realize that we are all one. I'm a reflection of you. You are a reflection of me. We are a reflection of we.